Is your brand caught in content chaos? Or even worse, are you inconsistent with your content? Today, we're going to dive into creating a content strategy to make sure that your brand has a winning content program. Welcome back to another Solucru Talks. I'm Jonathan Sellers, CEO of Solucru. Today, I'm joined by Alejandro Marin.
Hi, sir. How you doing?
Yes, glad to have you back.
Thank you.
Today, we're talking all about content strategy. And I think so many small businesses and entrepreneurs especially have some content ideas, but it's not really put together. It's not really congruent. It's just kind of, I have an idea, I'm going to do something. I have another idea 2 weeks later, I'm going to do something. And they never find that consistency. But I think there's some simple steps that we can take to make sure from the beginning that we set the foundation to make sure we are going to have a more effective use of our time and resources and efforts.
Yeah, like for content is very specific at the beginning because it's always like making something new from your head, like having that idea from your head and putting it out there and seeing if it's going to be effective. You want to be sure that your content that you're putting out there is effective and you're doing it the right way. The first step is always the brainstorming of the content. And what do you do in the brainstorm? You analyze or you start studying a little bit about, first of all, your audience, your client, and the audience you want to get to. That's the first thing. Then you start looking at the parameters of your content, like, okay, what are we going to do inside the content? If I want to make a video about my product showing how it works, or I want to make a how-to video about our services, you first have to find a way that is understandable for the general public. So don't try to make it that specific because it's gonna confuse the audience. You're gonna make it in a way that the language is understood, even if it's a person that doesn't even know the language of the content, so they understand it right away. That's the first thing. Getting to know first your audience and what type of content you want to work with. You have the idea, but you got to make sure that it's like the right moment and the right idea that will represent your business in the correct way.
To really lean into that, I think that's before you create, you should actually, you should strategize and prepare. You should dig in. You should think about who is your ideal target, where is your ideal target, what type of content do they engage with, what type of messaging resonates. So don't just necessarily jump in.
Exactly. And the next part, which is the tricky part, which platform are you going to use? Your channel of distribution. Okay. We have Instagram, we got Facebook, we got YouTube as well, we got Twitter or X right now. You got to first know the platform. Where are you distributing your content? That's the main thing. And that will help you have like a broader understanding. Okay, I know, for example, in Twitter, I can put this type of content because this is what I want to get from Twitter and have an interest directly to my business. And on YouTube, for example, I want people to know who the business is, what do we do, so they have a broader understanding. And at the long run, basically impulsing or boosting a little bit the brand of the business. So the second step will always be know where you're distributing your content.
I might be jumping ahead in your strategy here, but there may be like a resource question. Like, do you have the resources to create a lot of YouTube content, for instance, or are you better suited to creating content for some other channels that's a little, if you don't have the skill set or you don't know how to get videos, maybe you start with you try to identify another channel that your audience is prevalent in.
You mentioned resources, and if you would have mentioned this like probably 15 years ago, that would be the second step. Or not even the second step, first step. Not even the first step, the zero step, because you got to know if you can actually create.
Yeah.
But nowadays with technology and pretty much everybody has like the access to any type of devices.
Yeah, to
smartphones, laptops, and there's like free software, especially with the AI, which there's a lot of platforms that offer free services of AI. You rarely would see, I'm not saying investment in content is not important, it is important. It actually makes it more effective. But to create content, it's not that hard as before.
Yeah.
But to create good content, there is where the investment comes from.
Do you think that those brands even if they are bigger brands, especially if they're bigger brands, but they've put out something that looks maybe lower quality. Do you think they identified something in their audience that indicated like they want more like a,
The thing is that when you hear the word company, business, corporate,
yeah,
people get scared because they imagine the blue, white tie suit guys walking around. And what I've seen a lot of companies do is that, and that takes investment and study of people. Like, it's not only because I just upload a picture in some platform like Canvas and I just make whatever about my product. They study people, and because they know people want to feel part of the company, not just as clients, but also they want to grow. They want to make them feel like they're growing with them, that they're with them the whole way. So, and that's why you see those type of content. It's very trending right now, like that, very basic.
it's like raw?
Yeah, raw, very human to human content
Yeah, yeah.
that identifies more with the client, even more with the client than the product. To be honest,
Yeah.
they just put the product and they just put like certain quotes or letters or wording that it may have nothing to do with the product, but it connects with the people, and that's actually the next step. After you know the quality of your product, regardless if you invested $100,000, millions, or nothing at all, that will not impact or have an effect on the engagement you can have with that content. You can make a video about your product and post it online. And it could cost you around $3 million. You work with the best actors in the world. You get the best cameraographer, best design, whatever. But if it's not engaging and people don't get it and they don't feel like they connect with not the product, but the content, it won't work. While you're in that process of content planning, you got to make sure that what you're doing is actually coming from directly with the purpose of engaging with the client. You want to get their interest, you want to respect the client, and you want to make them feel that you want them to be part of your business and grow with them. Knowing, like, let them know that you actually want them hand by hand the whole way in the process.
And I think on that one, I wanted to ask one possible suggestion from you on that. So with so some people might be asking, but how do I know will it get engagement, right? So is that step involved with researching what's already out there that's from a similar brands, competitors, and things like that, and seeing which of their content is getting the most engagement?
Yes, obviously, like I mentioned before, study, analyze, look around, investigate, look at stats, look at other content that's created. Like I mentioned, everything has been created at this point, but not everything has been innovated.
Yeah.
So try to look like on those directions. But at the same time, is a process of trial and error. I always recommend when someone's creating a channel or an account, the first days are not gonna be, this is the realistic part. It's not gonna be, oh, I made a channel about my product, I sell, I don't soap. I make a good video about it, I post it. I imagine it's gonna, I study everything and imagine it's gonna be 1 million views, 1,000 likes. No, because you forget the second step, which is know your algorithm. Don't imagine in the beginning that you're gonna get the big numbers. It's very rare to see accounts that the first publication they make or post in their account, they get 1 million. It's very rare. You have to have a huge investment in marketing there.
Yeah, there's usually something else under the scenes, behind the scenes, that has helped them do that. They might have a massive email list and they emailed the video to 1 million people. Well, of course they got 100,000 views.
Which is not bad. Like,
If you have that, you can obviously you should use your own
platforms, yeah.
platforms for distribution.
It's a saying from an artist: if you have something that you want the people to know, let them know.
Yeah.
Don't have it, hide it there. Like if you have content that you feel as well, that it's good content, and you make all the steps, let people know.
Yeah.
Next step will go mostly not launching your content, seeing their reaction. The first days is probably gonna be it has to be organic.
Yeah.
And obviously from that point on, you'll know if you want to like pay for promotions inside their platforms or invest in how you say Facebook ads or Instagram ads. It will depend on how it does, but that usually is more active because it's right there in the moment. You will see how it's doing, if it's doing good, if it's doing bad. At the end of the day, if it's doing good or bad, invest in promotion, invest in ads. It's always in digital ads. It works.
I will say that cost of YouTube distribution is very, like, the return for the investment is very good. So
Yes.
invest just a few dollars, you get quite a number of bit of exposure.
Yeah, and out of all the platforms which pay for like viewership in your channels that have very ad revenue, YouTube is the one that pays the most.
Yeah.
That's actually a
As
fact
you
from
get,
them.
as you become monetized. Yes.
Exactly.
Yep.
And after that step, which is basically knowing if you want to invest in ads on your content, which I always recommend, because at the end of the day, it helps
Yeah.
a lot. Metrics, analytics. Start studying your numbers after like probably a week or a month. Not even a month. A month's too much. A week from when you posted that, start knowing, okay, this is what I'm doing good. The numbers are telling me this. Numbers always talk, and you will know from the numbers like, okay, was it engaging enough? Did it reach the amount of people I wanted to? Did it reach the clients I want to get from that content? Did it actually create an awareness of my brand or my business?
Yeah, no, and I think along with that, there's with AI and with so many SaaS products out there now, there's also the predictive analytics tools. Like for YouTube, we don't necessarily talk about a lot of products specifically on Solucru Talks, but in this case, I'll mention one specifically. So vidIQ is a tool we use on our YouTube channel. It predicts topics and what will be interested, what will get the most views and things like that.
The thing with vidIQ, it's really good. It gives you like the result. It predicts at a certain point what will be the most engaging title, the engaging copy, the most engaging thumbnail as well. For example, videos. But let's never forget that human side of it.
Right, because you know who your audience is.
Exactly, and that's where the investment goes. That's where you go to experts like Solucru.
Yeah.
And you start understanding, okay, there's a certain point that I can use this features on my content, but there's that human side that actually makes that big difference.
Yeah.
And that's the organic part. But because the point of having, it will depend on what you're trying to, like your objective. If you just want your business to generate more leads, which is the idea, obviously revenue, perfect. But if you also want your business to have an awareness of its brand, you have to invest in the human side in content. Because you want people to remember you. The idea of also content is not only to sell, but it's also to get your name out there.
Yeah, and build trust and affinity.
Exactly. Use the platform in a way, there has to be a balance. Like you have to use it in a way that you want to sell your product, but also sell your name.
Yeah.
So I'll go in that direction.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Well, thanks so much, Alejandro. If you're here today and you don't have this plan, right? You're hearing these steps and these preparation things that you need to be doing to be able to create a good, definitive, tangible plan and push your brand forward, continue to drive that awareness, then let's talk. Let's discuss ways Solucru, our team, Alejandro and the team could help you put together a strategy for your business, understanding who your audience is and understanding what your objectives are and who you are as the business owner or manager, or who the brand portrays itself as. And we'll be happy to do that. If you're still watching the video now, please subscribe to our channel and like this video. Helps us get more exposure with the algorithm, and you'll get notified when we post our next Solucru Talks or any of our other videos. And we hope to see you then.